Back at the lab. Told you I'd be doing this today. Sunday, don't worry about that. This one looks a lot nicer than the other one. Oh, the other one's in the car. So it's going to be hard to see it. I'm not touching it because it's hot. I milled that one out. Yeah, that's right. I took the risk, put it on that thing there and milled it out. So I drilled out the hole there with the hole saw and I milled it out. I've done that. There's actually new bits on there too. So, I mean, that looks a bit tidier than this one that's in the car here. This was a second-hand piece from March version 1 or version 2 or whatever. Much the same result as far as what it's going to achieve, just done a tiny little bit differently. No room to put that V-band that I was talking about in this general area here. And then the muffler starts there, so who knows, that may not even happen. Okay, I'm going to go cool that down so I can chop off the pipe on this. We should put a 3-inch exhaust on. I hear everyone saying no, too loud, waste too much weight, waste of time. Chop this off and stick that on there. We should be better off with that contraption I've made than what we had here anyway, because turbo's sitting here, right, so it's firing basically direct, straight, light, what's the word, perpendicular to that face there. So, and then it would have been, gas flow would have been trying to do something funky with this area here. This side would have been okay, would have followed that quite nicely, but potentially, I don't know, there's probably some smarter people watch me and can tell us exactly what would have been happening with the gas flow right here, but it wouldn't have been ideal. We might be better off with, I've put it on the car, haven't I? Might be better off with what we've got there, which is a bigger hole, essentially. So now what I've got to do is chop off that piece that I just showed you and get the angle of here and the angle of there, that's hard to point to from there, correct, so that our tailpipe, which is quite long, ends up in an appropriate spot out here somewhere. So you can imagine 0.5 millimeter error there equates to, I don't know, it's trigonometry, 3 or 4 millimeters out here. So we've got to get this right. 21 new COVID cases today in New Zealand. We are going to be in lockdown for a while. Never mind. Okay, that's glued onto there. Not going to call that weld-borne. Definitely not weld-borne. But looks fine from there, right? And no one's going to see it with the boot closed. So now, I tried to fit that into here when it was tack welded to test it. I reckon if I pull that off, I'll get it in there. The thing is, I'll have to put that back on again to check for alignment and stuff, and there's quite a lot of screws holding that on. So yeah, tail lights off, bumper off, with those screws undone, and we can test fit it and make sure it's going to work. It doesn't matter if it's too far out, because like I say, I'm gonna tweak the rest of this stuff anyway. Working away at all this sort of stuff and staring at the car and looking at improvements, and I'm thinking there's a straight line through there from here to the turbocharger. So one day, if we need tenths of a second out of the car, CV joint will get a bit warm, but you can come from there, run it down a little bit, straight out the back. Piece of cake on this side, actually heaps of room on this side too. Could do that. Do away with the mufflers. They don't weigh a heck of a lot actually. It's quite thin wall tube. They're not particularly heavy, but I'm thinking we could take 5-6 kgs out of the back of the car. Contrary to popular belief, these mufflers won't actually cause any resistance to flow. Sometimes if you do some Googling and stuff, you'll see that there's some literature that says that they can potentially actually increase flow due to a boundary layer built up on the outside because of the perforations in the tube. So there you go, a little bit of BS information for you today. Well, not BS, it's true, it's fact. Okay, well, splash a little bit of water on that. Shock horror, it'll be fine. I'll put a little bit of water on that and see if I can get it in here. Otherwise I might hit it with a hammer. It literally, if this plate was 5 mils higher, probably you'd be able to get it in there, but it's not. You can't. So I could chop some more holes in this. Do you think is that enough, or does it need more? I was thinking about making that from aluminium. It really doesn't do a hell of a lot. Holds up the diffuser and make sure the boot latch doesn't wobble around too much. The boot latch is up in here somewhere. It could do that. Yeah. 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 So close. Maybe if I could trim that flange. No. No, don't cut the flange anymore. I already cut a little bit too far by the looks of that. Come on. Oh, it's not very deep. So close. Yeah, we're hitting on top of the diff too. Out with the tools. That's that out of the way. That out, Swiss, the cheese grater out of the way. It was alright. Yeah, absolutely hoses in there now. Alright, I can't do this with one hand. So let's put some bolts in and see how close we are. See, this other one didn't actually line up in the exact right spot anyway. So what that is, the 4 mounting bolts on our brand new Pulsar turbo there. Just got to tweak those loose and clock that around a tiny little wee bit. It's about 25 mils or whatever it is. Could be that the engine's actually slightly different position than where it was before. Everything's a bit critical with this. There's no rubber mounting or anything. If you don't get it in the right spot, bad luck, it doesn't fit properly. You have to tweak it all, loosen all the bolts, shift it, realign it. Right, let's climb underneath there and do that. It's not terrible. Sitting a little bit low, that's no big deal. I mean, you can actually ultimately just give it a great big shove if you need to. It will bend the tube a little bit. Almost the same error as what we've got on the other side here. Where am I? I'm lost. There. I'm going to call that 15 mils. I'm going to call that 20, 25 mils. So probably is a little bit of the engine not quite being right, plus a little bit of that weld not quite being right, or that join perhaps. So I'm just going to buzz the angle grinder through that weld to give it some clearance on the side, tweak the pipe over, have another look and see where we're at. Just rinse and repeat until we're in the right spot, allowing for a little bit of heating and contraction when you weld it, and get that lined up. Just being fussy. I can see that you guys might not be able to, but the muffler is just slightly that way, whereas that one is pretty much straight parallel to the rest of the car, apart from the tail end being higher, you know. And you'll pick that. People will look at it and go, it's not straight. So let's fix that. Cut, tack welded, a couple of bolts in to hold it. I'm not going to call it perfect, but it's close enough. We're, I think, 6-7 millimeters out there, and you can literally just give it a bit of a loading up or a bit of a bend. Like I say, it's kind of structural tube that you can give it a tweak as required, and it's probably going to move when I weld that up a bit more anyway. So if I weld it the right way, it'll actually pull it across in the direction that I want as I go. So I'll give that a go. Whether it's successful or not, who knows. That one there is tweakable, probably. Yeah, it's already closer. A couple of those and we'll be alright. It'll go in. Pretty close. Close enough, I think.
that's somewhere near where the hole is. In fact, I can't see the hole because it's under the tab. We are a bit high, and if we come down, that tab gets bent. But we're closer than what that one is, and that one we didn't actually take the full pipe out. We just stuck a bit on the side, which shows how much stainless steel pulls when you weld it. Not going to lie, the second attempt at that, I wanted to change the height on it. It was just a little bit wrong, and it went a lot further than what I wanted it to go, so I had to give it another cut and another weld. So it only took 3 attempts to get that, and I'm not even going to call it right. 3 attempts to get it close enough that it's not going to interfere with what we're doing with the rest of it. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to put that V-band on now, based on the fact that you're never going to take this off with the diffuser on. That's just not going to happen. And for another 2 minutes work to pull the bumper and that panel off, well, tail lights as well, but you know, 2 or 3 minutes work, and then you can get it on and off, and we won't have to A, use a V-band that I can sell to somebody else, and B, carry the extra weight, and C, have the chance of it causing a problem. I've seen a V-band come loose on a car and rotate an exhaust around and set the fuel system on fire. That was exciting. So there's not really much chance of that happening at the back of this car, but it's just a thing, you know. So that'll do. What an exciting day. That took far too long. All day, basically, to finish off this one here. Or was that on this morning? I can't remember. And do that one exhaust pipe all day. Awesome. All right. Cheers, bye.